Sonic Frontiers, my favorite Sonic game. The game that had so much work to do after the disappointment that Forces was, and how much damage it caused in the Sonic fandom and franchise.
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
Although Sonic Frontiers isn't a 10 out of 10 game for many people, especially IGN, it did do its job in terms of reviving and saving the franchise again. Maybe the Sonic franchise didn't need a lot of saving this time around compared to when 06 release, and how it almost killed off the entire series. Then out of nowhere, Colors made an appearance and was what people like to call a step in the right direction. And well, you guys know what happened after Colors. The meta era.
Baldy nose hair! That's the best thing I've heard all day!
Shut your
Although I will take away Sonic Gens and Mania, as those games were very well received and are still loved by the fans. But fast forward to Sonic Frontiers, the game that had to make people fall in love with the blue blur again, and have that same joy as they did before. At that point, Sonic was a whole joke, and not only him, but many of the other characters such as Knuckles, Tails, Amy, and a bunch more. They made my boy Sonic a whole goofy character during the whole meta era, but until Frontiers released, it was a different vibe and a different person. Which, yes, you can take that literally because my man's voice is a whole lot deeper in this game to the point where he sounds like a 40-year-old dad who just hit puberty. Of course, many people state that the Sonic movies also helped out the franchise, which it did as it reached out a lot more people and a greater audience than before, but in terms of games, Frontiers did its job. Sonic Frontiers I feel like was the foundation of something great that Sega has in mind, and they have experimented with that in Shadow Generations, with the whole white space hub world, gameplay, new paths, and areas to explore in levels, chaos control, and a bunch more. It's like you can tell Sega has a lot more ambition and confidence now to deliver one of the greatest Sonic games of all time. But before anything, we do have to take a look at the things Sega has to fix before we can start celebrating. Now, first thing is first, we have to address the elephant in the room. Due to many rumors and leaks, apparently the next game will be fully open world, and I honestly don't know how to feel about that. Well, yes, I do love games such as Breath of the Wild, I just can't fathom the thought of Sonic having a fully open world type of setting, although we could count the islands and Frontiers as a little glimpse of what's to come. I wouldn't be opposed to this idea, but as long as they can make the open world feel like there's many things to do, such as side missions, I still wouldn't mind those little missions you have to do to unlock the map, but sometimes they may be a bit tedious. Just don't make the open world feel completely empty, as they would just ruin the game for many people, especially after seeing that one IGN gameplay trailer where Sonic was just running around doing absolutely nothing in the entire map. The funny part is, this was the exact reason why a friend of mine never bought Frontiers and just lost hope in the Sonic franchise, as he said, "Why are there just a bunch of random springs and items floating around that serve no purpose?" So later on we found out that we needed specific tokens to advance in the story, and I kinda did agree with him there. So yeah, as for the open world, I'm sure if Sega plays their cards right, we could possibly have a great Sonic game that is fully open world, possibly traveling from Mushroom Hill all the way to a city type of area on the other side of the map. I just think that could be a neat little touch. Of course, this is just my personal opinion. Now, the other huge complaint that I have seen from many people is that the cyberspace stages in Frontiers were absolutely terrible. First of all, the physics weren't the greatest, and as someone who loves Frontiers, I do have to agree. Sonic controlled very strangely, especially when you wanted to drift, as I feel like they could have just implemented the Unleashed drift, as it would have been their best bet right there. Sonic felt way too slow and sluggish, even when attacking enemies. And it could just be me, but these stages felt way too short. It was like if I was playing Forces again, just this time not going in a straight line all the time. Yeah man, I'm not gonna lie man, cyberspace just wasn't all the way there, which really sucks because that's the main aspect of the game, the actual stages. I just hope they fix all of this and maybe give Frontiers 2 the daytime stages from Unleashed or even Generations, as you felt like Sonic there, boosting and speeding through enemies like it's nothing. Plus, remember the time when people figured out that Frontiers was just reusing assets from previous games such as Unleashed and Generations and others, but I honestly don't know from the top of my head, so feel free to let me know in the comments down below. It could have just been Sega being lazy, or who knows. I personally didn't really mind it, but reusing assets like that a lot does not seem right to me, as I feel like there needed to be some form of originality here as well, which there was in other cases and stages. I don't mind them reusing assets from SA2, SA1, or even Colors, but just don't make it too noticeable and put effort into it to make it different and unique. I say this because back when Frontiers was made, Sega only had around 60 people to work on it, but now after Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, we have seen that number jump to around 460. That's a lot more employees working there to add more thought and creativity towards the next Sonic game. Now here comes something that many people may disagree or may not like. When it comes to the next Sonic game, I personally feel like they could just maybe, once again, maybe, this could be the last boost formula game. This is just a thought that I have. I would actually not be opposed to that, as we could possibly see the return of the adventure style gameplay in the next mainline Sonic game, if not possibly in Frontiers 2. That's huge for me to say because I know many people love the boost formula, and trust me, I personally do as well. But to be honest, I feel like it's getting kind of a little bit too stale, just with the same repetitive gameplay of boosting, and I feel like Sega might be teasing the adventure formula to possibly return, because as we saw in the Final Horizon DLC, we got the chance to play as Amy, Tails, and Knuckles. Of course, they all had different and unique abilities, but apparently many people did not like the way they controlled and preferred the regular just boosting Sonic type of gameplay. So taking all this into retrospect, Sega may have listened to the fans and may be working on how to implement the OG adventure formula into the modern day Sonic games, and I am 99% certain that we will get to play as other characters in this next game. Perhaps characters such as Blaze, Silver, Rouge, Shadow, or maybe even Omega. Ever since the release of Crossworlds, many people have fallen in love again with these forgotten and abandoned characters, so they will most definitely add at least one more different type of playstyle into this game. As stated previously, Shadow Generations may have been a little teaser or even a beta for what's to come in the next mainline Sonic game, and well, the reception of that game was actually very positive. For all we know, Sonic Frontiers 2 could possibly be the best Sonic game of all time, or it could just be a complete flop. But I'm sure that Sega is cooking something up and hopefully they don't let us down. In terms of music and the boss fights, Frontiers did a great job and people still love those bosses to this day, giving you that adrenaline pump and feel to absolutely destroy those titans. I really don't know what Sega has in store for us and what type of story they plan to write for the next game, but I am sure that based on the foundation of Sonic Frontiers, we can expect something great to arrive. Now the biggest thing that I feel like they could also do for the next mainline Sonic game would to be make the game completely 3D. I don't want any 2D sections because at this point, they have literally proved to us that they can make a game that is completely 3D. Look at Shadow Generations. Every single first act was completely 3D. Of course, Act 2 was 2D, but just make the whole entire game 3D at this point. If they really want to add a 2D type of gameplay into the game, I mean just make a whole 2D game separately. At this point, I'm pretty sure Classic Sonic will appear in the 35th anniversary as a whole standalone game or a spin-off game, whatever. And people have been begging for this for the longest time, and if they show that they can do it in Shadow Generations, I am sure they're going to do it, and they have the power to do it for the next mainline Sonic game. Let's just look at it this way. Sonic Frontiers was just a beta test for us players to see what Sega has in store for us these next few years. So yeah, what do you guys think? Will Sonic Frontiers 2 redefine the Sonic franchise, or will it not? Well, yes, Frontiers was a step in the right direction as many people say. This next game could be the final deciding factor of that statement. So once again, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. For now, stay safe, take care, and peace. By the way, homies, please, Sega, if you're listening, keep Big the Cat in the game. I need to see that man's big belly and fish with that man. Let's go.